going all off. I already pressed the record button. It wasn't even recording. Son of a biznash. Got some feathers, some duck, goose. Anywho, if I'm driving this, that means that I fixed the van. It's driving so slow. You're gonna get a red light. Yeah, that's right. You better stop for that. And I took it down to my buddies. This is where I got off on this tangent. Went down there, and of course, it's got specializes in European cars. So I went down there. It's got all the scan tools for all the basic, well, all the vehicles, period. So I plugged in, and I could run all the modules, check everything. I could run the fan on low speed, high speed, check all the engine codes. And it came up with one engine code that low speed fan. So the low speed fan was connected to the leg bone that was connected to the foot bone. One relay inside the fuse panel under the hood. So I swapped it out with the rear heater relay that controls the heater blower motor for the rear of the van. If you had a Caravan, you know it's got front heater controls, and then you can also control the rear, just like you can in a sleeper in the truck. So I swatched the two relays and cleared the codes. I had to go for a drive though, because I'm sitting there in the shop. I'm like, it's kind of cool. Yesterday it wasn't too cool, but sitting there at idle, the thermostat was enough to keep the vehicle cool. How many orange lights do you go through today? And so I took it for a drive out to Brawlers, and while I was sitting there, the engine fan came on. So I'm like, sick, because I couldn't make the engine fan come on before. And the engine fan always comes on when it just goes over half. So anyways, relay. Now we gotta take back my like $180 worth of parts that I bought from the dealership, which is no big deal. That's fine. Money back in my pocket. And what else? That was it. Oh, well, there was the AC problem too. They got evap lines that run from the compressor at the engine bay all the way to the rear quarter behind the right rear tire. They're like, what's galvanized or aluminum or something. But anyways, if you drive on lots of gravel roads, they get rash, and they actually will leak way at the back. So right behind the right rear tire, there's two pipes, and they come up, and yes, they do assume that they got some rash. Then we can put some compression fittings on them and make like kind of like a poor man's fix. Gotta go to Dodge, and I'll return these parts, and I'll see how much these lines cost. I should look at it first, how hard it is to replace. But anyways, winter is just around the corner, so we don't need air conditioning now. I will fix that next year, because I told him, like, he used to be sole runner owner of Mikasa, and then he was missing trucking because he used to work at Road Train he worked at Road Train way before me. And then he started the car thing. Gotta beat everybody else to this light. Whoa, Tina. Tina's not a spirited cornerer, especially on its winter tires. So anyways, yeah, it's gonna cool off, so there's no need to get worried about the AC. But I'm like, dude, ever since like you left, he still works there and does stuff when he's not doing stuff, but he's always next door. Hudson's shop is right beside Mikasha's shop, and he's trying to furb 30-foot poles on his army truck so he could do some crazy grain bins things. And I'm just like, what? I'm like, don't you have... He's got 3 or 4 trailers that do grain bins, but for some race, and he's got to customize the army truck. I wish I could go and take video, but I think he's supposed to be going today, and he still didn't have an answer to be able to pull these bins down. I'm like, that's kind of close. So him and the welder were fabbing up something yesterday. I should tell him to take some pictures. Yeah, I better text him and tell him, I'm like, you better take pictures with the army truck pulling bins and some footage too, and I want it. I've made a few videos for him and he's been super appreciative. He's always telling, oh, I'm gonna pay you for those. Never does, but I always get like free help with cars. Well, not really free help. I get to use his stuff. He's always too busy to help me. If I don't know what I'm doing, I gotta read a book or watch a video because he can't. He's too busy. Which I understand that. And honestly, that's how it's been our whole relationship. He's always had the goods for me to be able to do the repairs and the stuff and find the knowledge to be able to do what I need to do. Like, he's got all sorts of stuff on the computer that schematics and stuff that explains how to like troubleshoot and all that stuff. So I had to learn all that, which was cool and everything, but owning a Volkswagen has made me more of a mechanic than I was before. But I've always had Volkswagens since high school, junior high, late junior high, I think was the first one. We used to just buy cars in Whitehorse just to drive them on trails and smash them up and just leave them. Which I know, bad, but we were young. I didn't know, I didn't think about it. And I know it's littering, basically. My buddy had an actual registered car and he left it in the bush. He got a fucking littering fine and he had to pay for it to be recovered. Where all the ones we bought were not registered. We do that all the time. We just buy a car for like $100. Whatever the cheapest car we could find that ran, we'd buy it. Like a couple of us, and then we would just go trail riding because there was like 9 million miles of trails. Dude, we could literally leave the bar in our later years when I was 18, 17. Legal age is 18, but, you know, we always snuck in early. I had a couple friends, they were always older, and then he'd be like, oh, we're all going to the bar. I was like the youngest, and I was like, I'm not fucking old enough, and I hate going in there. They'd be like, hey, do you got ID? And I'm always like, I forgot it. Or be like, oh, I forgot my wallet. Oh, if you heard that shit now, you'd be like, weak. But of course the waitresses weren't much older, still aren't. And sometimes you get away with it, sometimes you would not. And a lot of us, like, everybody had older brothers. You literally could get a liquor license if you had 2 pieces of ID, like a social insurance number and birth certificate. So a lot of my friends would just go in with this social insurance number and birth certificate and be like, oh, I need a liquor license because this was another way of our liquor ID or whatever. This was another, I actually had this because I lost my driver's license for a little while. And this was the alternative to showing because you need a picture ID, government issued picture ID, which I'll dig up one of my old driver's license and you'll fucking laugh at how it's just like very fucking basic. Exactly what you would expect from the territories. Hilarious. But yeah, everybody, I didn't have a brother. Well, I do, but he lived in like Swan Hills or Barhead or Edmonton at the time, one of the 3 places. And yeah, so it was way different. We weren't really talking a lot because it was from my dad's side, previous marriage to my mom. So after my dad passed away, there was a lack of communication, which there wasn't a whole lot there before because we were in Whitehorse and you're like, you might as well be living at the North Pole. And then everybody else lived in Edmonton, later Barhead. My brother was in Swan Hills, now he's in Whitecourt, which I still don't even see him. I'm horrible and bad for that. I drove by my mom like fucking countless times the last 2 months to stop in and say hi. No. trillion times. At the end of the day, you just want to go home. And now these fucking e-logs, fucking bullshit. You can't do nothing. You can't even stop to eat. Like, I don't have time to stop and eat. When am I gonna grab a bag of chips? How's your health? I'm dying. You want to be a trucker? It's a poor lifestyle, and now they've made it even poorer. You want to stop and help that family that's stuck in the ditch and might freeze and die? Can't do it. Elon, gotta keep going. Sorry. Good luck. Shit like that. Because I'd be seeing people all the time. I'd be like, oh, I'd pull over and help. I could probably, help you. Regardless of stature, if you're fucking female or male. Not that kind of better if you're female, but don't think like that. Anybody that needs help, I'm more than happy to stop and help somebody. I don't really like giving people rides, like hitchhikers and shit, because I don't fucking know you from a hole in the ground. It's not like it used to be back in the day. Everybody was pretty friendly. Sometimes too friendly, if you know what I mean. And yeah, those days are long over. Can't trust anybody nowadays. If they fucking pull you over, they want to kill you. Take your stuff.
greasy.
That's really fucking greasy.
Yeah, it's greasy. Greasy.
I just walked back to see what's up when I left location, and right where my truck was parked. That's a U-bolt. Just noticed my steering felt a little weird. Oh, that's not, I could see something. Shit, I wasn't even doing anything really. That mount is there. That's definitely not one of the mounts for that. What the fuck? That bolt's there, that bolt's there. Missing something. I gotta fucking spin these chains out. That bolt's there, that bolt's there. Those are way bigger bolts. There's no U-bolts back here. What the fuck? Where else is there U-bolts? Just the front suspension, no? Well, I gotta get these chains clean. definitely reacts faster. GoPro is slow when you push buttons. You gotta wait. This one's like... But... Loaded Lowboy getting on the river at 6. Oh. The going back and forth from time lapse and regular video, because the GoPro, there's just a button at the bottom. If I'm time lapsing, like when I pull up to location or when I'm getting close to location, I like to like slow it down, video, you know, so you just hit it on the screen and it switches from time lapse to video without missing a beat. It's just like regular video. Where this, you gotta stop recording. Quick function on the side you can set up so you can have whatever functions you want quick, but it's still, there's that pause in the video, so there'll be that gap, which won't be a huge gap, but still, it's a pain in my butt. I wonder if they're looking to widen out the road or something. This is strange. Yeah, I took the wrong turn. I thought I heard somebody say the plant road. So I went down there, and then as soon as I turned, I was like, I don't think this is the right place. Because they're like, yeah, go to kilometer 6, and it starts at 21 or something. So yeah. So I was like, well, maybe they meant go 6. And then I said, there's a drop pin in the email, but of course it's very sparse phone service, so I had 3G, which doesn't do a fucking thing now, but it was cool fucking, what, 4 years ago? 3G was enough to do all the shit you needed to do, but not anymore. You can't even open anything on 3G. It's just like, no, nothing's happening. I had a 3GS iPhone. What that was, iPhone, that would have been like a 3, I guess. iPhone 3 GS, that was like cream of the crop back then. That was just slightly after the iPod. But anyways, yeah, and then it showed me where I was like, damn it, I can like go all the way around, which was gonna take me a half hour, but I don't even think you can go around because you gotta cross the river, and I'm pretty sure there's no crossing. Someone probably knows of another bridge. I'm sure there's one somewhere in there. Guy's just mulching up a storm. So yeah, from didn't really get buried this morning, but it was greasy. I have no idea where the end of that U-bolt came from. Think about it. The only place there should be U-bolts on a truck that I've seen physically were your front axle, so there's 2 on each side. Then the trailer's got 4 per tire, right? There's 4 at every tire. I checked all those are all still there. I'm like, huh. Looking around, I'm like, I don't see any other places where there's a U-bolt, because the rear drive suspension doesn't have U-bolts, unless if you have spring ride. So, just gonna chalk it up as not mine. I looked in like the U-bolts on the winch and stuff, but they're way bigger, and I think it's actually nut and bolt, it's not U-bolted. They're like fucking 1.5 inch bolts, so not from there. It's just kind of weird because they dropped those mats off and they were just placing them out. So, and it was right underneath where my truck was, and I went back to ask them because we were gonna go get 2 more pieces of test. Loaded Lowboy 3 River. We were gonna go back to Sylvan to get more stuff, and I was just gonna ask them, I'm like, are we doing that? And they'll leave my trailer here, are we cool with that? Because their yard in Sylvan, well, it would be out of my way. I'd have to go into Sylvan to get my trailer, so I was just gonna leave it on location. And when I walked back over there, I was asking, I'm like, and he's like, no, I'm gonna get swamp mats. I'm like, cool. Alright, maybe we'll see you tomorrow or the next day. So we got to bring out that, it's that single axle tank. You've probably seen me haul it before at Cypress. It's kind of a real pain in the butt. You got to winch it on, winch it off, yada yada yada. Then we had to get a wheeled P-tank, but he's like, I needed to go over there. And he said that when they moved the drilling rig out, the commander was buried. So I'm like, yeah, you can pull me in there as much as you want. I don't want to go in there, but if you need me to come out, I'll put on a set of chains, hook onto the cat. You just kind of fucking yank me in wherever you want, but when you deck it off, you put it on a 3x12 or 2, it's gonna eventually just, and then it'll be no good. And laying down that single axle tank, because it lays flat on the ground, right? So when you haul it, it's like this, and then when you lay it down, it's flat, so you can fill it with water. It's like a water tank, holding tank. So then you just put the fifth wheel right in all the mud. And I'm just like, I don't like that. Because then when I go to pick it up again, it'll be all mud into my wheel. You gotta like pick it up, get underneath there, clean the horse cock, then winch it on, or else fill your fifth wheel plate full of shiznite. So yeah, well, stay tuned for the next show coming up. We'll go into Calgary. We're supposed to take the 16 and 16, so the Low Pro and the Scissor, and go into Calgary for some reason and get an N2 pumper for Trican, and then bring it to a plant just Joffrey, which is only like 20 minutes, well, not Joffrey, but Prentice. The area is pretty much Joffrey, but Wajax? I don't even know where that is. I'll have to look it up, but I'm just like, man, so I gotta load the Jeep, because if I scissor down, if I pull the whole combination and I scissor down with the Jeep, then it's a pain in the ass to get your winch line over the Jeep back to the truck, because then I'll have to undeck from the Jeep to pin onto this pumper unit, back it on the trailer. So I'm just like, just thinking ahead of all the things you would actually do to get that job done. And it's like, to lay down with the Jeep, then I got to get the winch line back over the Jeep without, and it's got a lot of catching areas, and you don't want to fuck anything up, so. So I gotta go back and do that. It's 20 after 4, 4:20. Brah, light it up. Out of the fucking Border Paving pickup beside me at the light. And the fucking cones are just fucking all over the place in the fucking box here. I'm like, how the fuck do you consider this non-securement? I already seen one on the side of the road. Buddy's pissed, you fuck. My Camaro. Yeah. Literally, one was just like hanging out. I'm like, that's gonna fly up. Yep. As soon as I got up to speed down the bottom of the hill for the Y7, one's on the ground.